This is the biggest gameplay-focused update in years, and it's on the way very soon. Frontier just announced real multi-phase missions. They'll take you from ship-to-ship combat to deep inside the interiors of megaships on foot, and that's just one example. The update is called Operations. And yes, that's the first look at the brand new ship called the Caspian Explorer. It's going to be arriving in December. It's a large ship and, well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. A new space station is also on the way. This is the dodecahedron. It's from previous versions of Elite and it's going to be available in Elite Dangerous very soon, but here's the kicker, it's going to be unlockable for ARCs. So let's start with discussing Frontier's next big update. This is coming in 2026. It was originally scheduled for the end of this year, but Frontier want a bit more time on it. I'm not too surprised, as that seems to be a recurring theme with Frontier, but of course, leaving it longer, making it cook is definitely the way to go. The update is called Operations, and it's all about, well, new ground-based missions as well as some space-based ones. Now, details on this are pretty light at the moment, but essentially what it's going to involve is doing some activities in space, and this leading into some activities in a base or on the ground, and this can be extended into mining activities later on and other elements of Elite Dangerous as well. More interestingly, perhaps, is the fact that we're going to soon be able to board megaships. And from the sounds of it, we'll be doing that in order to conduct most likely combat-focused missions, or maybe some espionage as well, or even sneaking in and doing some other activities. Now, this quite naturally appears to be an expansion on the gameplay that was introduced with Odyssey way back in 2021. Most viewers of this channel who have been around for any length of time, and long-time players of Elite Dangerous, will be well aware that Odyssey launched to a lot of controversy. Not least because many people felt that the foot-placed gameplay, the surface-based gameplay that was in Odyssey was somewhat shallow, to say the least. Of course, Frontier have refined all of that and improved upon it over time, but for the first time they seem to be really going back and thinking about how they can expand upon it and perhaps make it what it should have been, and this is really a good direction to be going in. They also pointed out that these missions, these operations, will be a multiplayer, meaning that there'll be a cooperative and you can take up to 3 other players along with you. So bottom line, I'm really pleased to see that what Frontier are doing here is taking advantage of all areas of Elite Dangerous. In other words, these missions, these operations will work across multiple areas of Elite Dangerous. You'll be able to start in a ship and then end up on ground-focused combat, or start on ground-focused combat maybe, and then move on up into ships. Frontier were also very keen to point out that this will extend into other areas of the game, notably into mining, trading maybe, as well as all the other activities that players regularly engage in. Additionally, they said that it won't just be limited to the initial release, they will continue to expand operations over time. So very much looking forward to this one. Hopefully it really is early 2026 and not mid-2026. Looking forward to hearing more on that. Now, let's move on to the other story. This one is focused on space stations. Of course, stations are very prevalent now. They're being expanded all over the place thanks to the colonization system that's now in the game that started with the Trailblazers update. Effectively, as many of you will already be aware, you can now colonize star systems. You can effectively take control of one, you'll own it to all intents and purposes, and you'll be able to guide what stations are built there and where they are located. Now, in the new update, I do believe this is coming this year as well, they're going to be releasing a new space station that you'll be able to use for this purpose. It's the dodecahedron design. It was popular in previous versions of Elite. I was always surprised actually to see that wasn't available in Elite Dangerous, so it's very nice to see that making a return. Now, the downside perhaps that many people will feel here is that it's going to be unlockable for ARCs currency. Pretty pricey. It's going to be 50,000 ARCs, otherwise known as £23 or thereabouts. As I've said before, I feel it's important to keep the focus firmly on the real-world cost of these things rather than the fictional currency, because the fictional currency tends to obscure things. So yeah, pretty pricey. No information yet on whether this is an early access type deal and you'll be able to buy these things for credits at a later date, or whether this is a permanent ARCs only purchase. There are a few things I'd like to touch on with this particular subject, because on the one hand, I do feel that Frontier obviously need to make money. Elite Dangerous does need to be monetized. The price of the game is pretty cheap now, and if they want to have ongoing development, they're going to need continuing funds. So yeah, pricing things, making things available for real-world currency does make sense. That said, the dodecahedron design for the space station is pretty much cosmetic. Although that said, it's not entirely cosmetic because it does come with a new feature not available elsewhere. This is the human tech broker. Now, it's not clear what the difference, if any, there is between this tech broker and the other tech brokers that are already available in Elite Dangerous, but the way Frontier discussed this seemed to imply that there will be some type of difference. Not quite sure what that is all about, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Now moving on, we come to the new ship. This is the Caspian Explorer. It's the second ship that Frontier have released in their new batch of ships that is focused exclusively on exploration. The first, of course, was the Mandalay. This one is the Caspian. It's a very different design to the Mandalay, and was also a large ship, whereas the Mandalay was a medium ship. Now what's interesting here is the design of the Caspian. Very different hull to what we've seen before in Elite Dangerous, and feels right out of a completely different fictional universe in many ways, but I do actually like this design. Not necessarily in the sense that it's in keeping with Elite Dangerous, at least what we've had so far, because it feels a little bit out of place perhaps, but I do also like the way that Frontier are expanding the silhouettes and hull designs that we're seeing in-game. Now, Frontier haven't got into the specifics on all the details of this ship, what its capabilities are, what it can and can't do. It also is likely to have a new feature, as many of the recent new ships have had. They've had something that's unique to them, making them stand out from the rest of the vanilla ships that have been available in Elite for many years. In this one, they said there's something interesting you might notice on the hull plating. Don't know what that means. They said again, we're going to have to wait and see, so it seems that Frontier are teasing us to left, right and centre here, giving us just a bit of enough information to really see that they're planning on some interesting things for the future, but not quite enough information that we know the full details of all of those. But that's completely fine, because it's really nice to know that things are coming further down the line. So to clarify here, we've got the Caspian ship coming in December. Also, at that time, Frontier are going to be releasing a balance pass for the game, where they're going to be balancing many different areas of the game. A lot of these will be Odyssey focused. I think that is in preparation for what we can expect to see later on when Operations releases later in 2026. So that's essentially getting the game ready for that future update. Operations itself is coming early 2026, so that could take us up to any time as of April maybe 26, but don't be too surprised if they release it a bit later than that. Although fingers crossed, perhaps we get it genuinely early 26, February, March, who knows. But whatever, this is something that I'm very keen to see, because I've long wanted to see the different aspects of Elite Dangerous all connected together into one cohesive mission, and that seems to be what Operations are all about. And the dodecahedron release, I'm somewhat ambivalent toward that, because it's essentially a cosmetic item, it's a cash drop item. I'm happy for anyone who is pleased to see this, and it is a nice station design, but yeah, well, there we go, a new station design there for everyone interested in that one. So that brings us to an end of this video. Some pretty neat things there. Let me know what stands out for you. As always, thanks for watching this video all the way through. There is another on the screen right here if you want to check that out. Do take care, and I'll catch you next time.